never go 30 minutes without speaking to him. There was talk of pasta and lasagna, I heard. It's okay though, we're
Well,
figuring it out.
we're going simple. We're gonna eat some sandwiches tonight, and I offered to cook because she's working out of the house, so make sure she can come home and relax.
Very nice. Very nice. There's a guy on live right now that these jokes are freaking hilarious. Something about his wife getting braces and now his kids are stuck behind bars. I was addicted to soap, but now I'm clean.
Everybody's got hobbies, I guess,
Why did Walker cross the road?
because he destroyed his car.
Because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
Same thing.
Okay. All right.
He was in the middle of something there.
Yeah, we were. That's a shame. Um, but so it doesn't make a guy feel good, right? When those levels of connection get removed, and it's very primal for men. I don't think that's what women understand. It's extremely primal, and we're very protective. And when we feel like we don't have that, again, it starts to strip away at kind of who we are. And sometimes that does get taken out on those around us as collateral because it is literal pent up frustration. And, my wife expressed this to me a while ago. She's like, well, I'm worried that if I don't give it to you, you're going to go out and get it. I'm like, I understand that concern. That is probably one of the most logical things that she has said because it makes sense in a grand scheme of things. But what she fails to realize is we are married, and my commitment before her and God was to her. I'm not going anywhere to get it. But I'm sorry if that's the situation then. I am getting more frustrated. I'm shutting down a little bit more, or my patience isn't quite there because those needs aren't being met. And it makes it harder for me to do what you want me to do when my one extremely important cup is being left empty. You know what I mean?
I do want to, throw in there that I'm not. So we're using sex as a standard guideline for the talking point, but it's not just that. If I come up
Mm,
to you and you're doing something and I give you a kiss, but because you're busy or into something, you respond to me negatively like I'm a hassle on you. That's going to teach me to do that less. If I
mhm.
want to hug you out of nowhere, but you're trying to plan, dinner, but you respond to me in a negative way, that's going to teach me to do that less, and it starts to drive that wedge. And it seems like, you know a small thing inside of a relationship, but those little moments tell me how to behave and how to engage. And it's so important because then you'll start judging me based on how I'm reacting, thinking that it's just my behavior.
Yeah, a big one too is the compliments. I just told my wife because we actually we talked it out. It was very healthy and very productive. I'm very appreciative of it. Um, I'm like, just let me compliment you. I'm like, I don't even care if you fake it. I'm like, but just say thank you.
Yeah. So my wife has told me, like, she doesn't like hearing compliments a lot because she doesn't feel what I'm telling her. And I have to remind her, like, what I'm saying to you isn't something that is internal to you. I'm letting you know how I feel.
Hmm.
Regardless of what your perception is for me, I'm telling you what my perception is so you can know it direct.
Yeah, yeah. So let's kind of go into the. Whew, maybe an energy drink before this talk wasn't the best idea because I am all over the place. I'm like, whoa. It's actually very good. It's this one lit Beyond Raw lit by GNC. It's actually not bad.
Not a paid
Um,
advertisement.
yeah, right. Seriously. Now, why would a man draw intimacy, right? And the first thing that comes to my head is what I've dealt with personally on why I maybe didn't want to, didn't desire it, underperformed, whatever. But I'm a very niche group of people because as a bodybuilder, I play with my hormones all the time. And this is something my wife had to get used to too. Like when I'm in bodybuilding prep and I'm heavy and I'm fully depleted and I'm deep in there. Anyway, um, it's very hard for me to even perform the act because of mechanical issues. My body's in survival mode. I am starving myself. The last thing it wants to think about or want to do is procreate. And then the hormone issue is a bigger thing. If I am off with my hormone timing or anything, and my testosterone isn't there, or my estrogen is too high, or anything else that can go wrong, it ain't gonna happen. And that was something that she had to get used to as part of my lifestyle because I'm like, baby, I love you. It is not you. I promise this, as cliche as it sounds, it's not you, it's me. Literally. I have hormonal problems that I'm trying to balance out right now to get everything to work the way they need to. So after enough go rounds of this happening, she kind of put two and two together that, oh, okay, he is just trying to figure out how to make his body work right.
Okay, so what I heard was I'm never going to the gym again.
No, it has nothing to do with that. I take exogenous hormones that mess with the natural rhythm of how things work. But
I'm teasing.
low testosterone is a major issue in the United States and a major problem, and is a big reason why men withdraw from the intimacy part of the relationship because it could be sometimes the women's drive is really high and the guy's like, he forgets he's a penis sometimes because he doesn't have enough testosterone in his body for everything to function and regulate the way that they need to. And that is something that men, especially, need to take initiative and take care of themselves and get better at.
Because I don't do all the hormones in the gym like you do, I don't have a lot to go on with this. But
Well,
generically,
so
it's important.
any that's just what that's the only thing that really comes to mind though when a guy withdraws, right? Or okay, the only other thing that I can think of that I at least have ever withdrawn um intimately wise, like when I want to withhold intimacy, maybe even subconsciously, is when I feel a heavy degree of disrespect. Like if you come at me sideways or cause me an extra amount of stress that disrupts my peace, or if you want to pop an attitude or something anywhere close to around the time we're getting it on, um, I'm immediately turned off. Like, why would I want to have intimacy with you or anything like intimacy with you when you're talking or treating me a certain way? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't have that. And that's where me and you as men differ because no matter what, I'm ready to go for my wife. Like she could stomp on my dick and I'd be like, "Hey, is that code? Are we doing
Is
code?"
that a new thing we're trying out? um, yeah, you've also seen, you've been, you've known me long enough and experienced a lot of my seriously messed up relationships to where it's like we have two very different viewpoints when it comes to certain things or experiences. I'm sorry, experiences.
Yeah,
So
I'm way
a
more
little bit
forgiving
different.
in the way that I do things. And that is from past experiences brought forward.
Mhm.
I know that, so I try not to talk about certain things. I am very closed off in certain ways because of experiences I've had in the past. I try not to be, and I try not to let that come forward, but it does sneak out.
Mhm.
So I don't
Yeah. So
voice myself a lot.
No, right. So like a big thing for me is like aggressive drinking. Like not like like you're the act of drinking, but being an aggressive drinker. If you drink and you turn hostile, um, that immediately like is like a trigger point for me because I've dealt with so many bad experiences with alcoholism, people drinking around me, stuff like that. Where no, at that point, like I just want to go to bed. I just want to get you in bed and we will restart this tomorrow. Um, other than that, that's really all that comes into mind for me. Um, but let's move on. That's enough depressing talk right now. So, from a woman's perspective, right? And this is why I kind of talked to my wife too, because she had some really good insight. And a lot of this came from the conversation that we recently had too, because we were really able to hear each other out. And again, the main point I want to drive home with all this is 9 times out of 10, the issues that you may be facing is literally can be solved by one conversation away. And you have no idea. So, a big reason why women withdraw from intimacy is their needs aren't being met. And I know that sounds extremely either superficial or very selfish, or, but you know what? Guess what? As men, we're the leaders of the household. We're the ones that have to take that initiative. We're the ones that we create that box of masculinity for our wives to play in their femininity in. So if there's no structured box for them to feel safe or play in, then no wonder why she's not going to jump to sit on your lap, so to speak. So a lot of this may look to, you probably aren't filling all of her needs like you think you are, right? You may be providing, but women are a lot more needy than that. And I know that sounds mean to some people, but y'all are extremely needy in a lot of different ways. My wife just needs to smile so I can see that she's happy, flash me, and then go, I love you. And then I'm like, okay, cool, life is great. It's not that easy the other way around. And we have to remember why, because we are wired differently. Okay. And that is okay. Things you need to pay attention for, gentlemen. And Chaz, you can chime in if I end up missing any, but you need to make sure not only she provided for, meaning she doesn't have to constantly worry about if she's going to have a place to sleep at night. You also need to make sure that she feels loved, wanted, desired, also supported emotionally. That means you have to listen, and then also probably not talk, because they don't want to hear your solutions. A lot of times they just want to be heard. You just need to be present. She wants you around all the time and none of the time at the same time. Meaning she wants you to be able to provide a whole life, but also be there 24/7, which is not physically possible. But you got to figure out that sweet spot that works best for you guys, and that's going to be different for everybody. Chaz, what I miss?
I don't think you really missed anything. I just think that really it seems daunting the way it comes across. Like for the initial statement of women just want to feel like their needs are being met, it seems like such a big, ominous wording that for men, most men, I know me, we freak out in our brains because that is not a structured guideline, and we need some way of knowing where to go. So when we
Hmm.
hear that, we're just like, what do I do with that? But it's really not that big. You just got to kind of figure out what you've been doing differently and then go back to that same stage and be like, "Hey, I'm going to provide this. I just didn't realize I stopped."
Yeah, like again, for any women listener, also keep in mind, like if your man is the sole provider of the household, or if he's the main provider of the household, and he's the one that you got a good man. He takes care of business. He's making sure everything is there. He's making sure everything is right and fixed and running and all that. please keep in mind the amount of weight and everything that we have on our shoulders. And I know you want to be the number one priority. Well, he's doing all this, but he shouldn't forget about me. He doesn't. He's doing all that for you and because he loves you. And a lot of times, everything just gets missed by a hair in translation. He's doing so much to make sure you have the best life possible when really all you want is for him to be there and you to be seen. And that way, when that happens, you can reciprocate and show your love and appreciation for him. And you guys are literally just missing each other mid flight. And it's so close. But because of that, that's what builds unspoken resentment. That's what builds the lack of intimacy. And again, you guys are probably just a conversation away from being this far apart to not apart at all. And for those of you that are just listening, I just held my hand about a standard American dick sized length apart.
Yeah, it depends who you're measuring from. I get, you know. Anyways, I really want to focus on people get so lost, and you're talking about that translation, like they get really lost on it because, like, for me, I know I experienced that feeling like, why are you telling me I'm not doing when I know that I am? Like I've done XYZ, and I start listing them. Like I've spent a lot of time arguing with my wife when I just need to shut up and listen, like you said. And that took a lot of time to learn. And I finally did. Like a lot, if I can just take my feelings and say, okay, go over there, I need to listen real quick. She gets the chance to be heard, say what she's got to say, and then I can develop a plan. But instead, I want to fight my feelings most times and not give her an opportunity to be heard properly.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can really just shut up, sit there and listen and not try to have a solution in the moment, I can respond with honest thoughts that I'm not trying to protect myself and I'm not trying to protect the relationship. I'm just trying to be honest in the moment. That's when she's really going to feel like you're trying, you're there in the moment. Because when you do the reserved answers, they hear it, they hear the reservation, and it makes them standoffish because they know that you're hiding something in there or you're afraid of something that you're, not able to give them the full answer.
Yeah. And even with that being said, too, like, I know one thing that really helped us was like, take a minute, take a second to digest it, right? Take a day, schedule a time to sit down and talk. Um, that way, you're not just every answer is not just right off the hip, which a lot of times isn't really the best or right answer anyway, because that's what you're emotionally responding to. Take a second to actually sit and digest something your partner told you, right? Actually be able to hear them. And ladies, show your man some grace. Don't expect him just to know. Well, he should know, and he should know. Okay. Well, if women's intuition is so good, shouldn't you also know when he's unhappy? So, how about y'all just cut the kitty crap and just talk to each other?
It's the easiest way for me to know what you need. Say it.
Well, right, and don't beat around the bush too. Well, I would like, I just want you to be there more. How? How do you want me? I'm not. It's not a rhetorical question. I'm literally asking you. I don't know. I just want you to be. Nope, that's not how men function. If you tell us specifically what you want, how you want, where you want, or why you want it, I bet money if you got a man worth a dime, he will figure out to give you exactly what you want. But I think a big problem too is women don't know what they want. They don't. They have an idea of what they think they want until they actually get it and they're like, oh, this wasn't really what I thought.
I've had a couple moments, conversations with my wife where she openly said, I don't even know what I want in this. I just know that something in this instance is not what I want. And I have to go back to her and be like, listen, I want to be there to help you. But if you can't tell me what it is that's wrong, I can't fix it. I can't read your mind. I can't climb inside your head. I need you to communicate with me in a way that allows me to process what it is that's missing.
Right. Yeah. So again, this comes down to being able to communicate those certain needs. Because if you don't, that's when the withdrawing is going to start happening. But a good way that you can prevent it is as soon as you notice it, right? As soon as, ladies, if he goes a week or two and your cup isn't getting filled, don't just sit there and just stand on business and not say or do anything and be like, well, if he wanted to, he would. He should know. Uh uh. You chose this man, put on your big girl pants and tell him. Gentlemen, same damn thing goes for you. If a week, two goes by and you're sitting there going, I don't know what happened. Everything was good. And now I've barely seen a side boob of hers in like 2 weeks and it's killing me. Grow a pair of cojones, go up to her and be like, hey, I noticed this is what's been going on with us lately. It's not making me feel very good. What's going on? Is there something, I'm not doing? Is something going on with you? Is like, it's not an easy conversation, but it is most definitely 100% a necessary conversation because the quicker you can nip it in the butt, the the better foundation you guys are going to be able to build off of. And it's not just a one and done, guys, either. It is not just you have this conversation at the beginning of your relationship and you guys are good for the next 30, 40 years. I think a big problem that couples are running into nowadays, especially, is they'll have this conversation maybe once or twice in the beginning. Okay. And then as it carries on, those conversations become less and less frequent. Why? Because he gets distracted with work, they get distracted with the kids, she's out, going out with the girls, and everything else starts getting in the way, right? And they're letting things in that shouldn't be inside of the relationship. And then slowly they're starting to drift apart. So even though they feel these emotions coming on and they feel this separation, they go, you know what? Screw it. Cheaper to keep her. I'm just going to keep doing me. And she goes, well, if he wanted to, he would. I'm just going to keep doing me. And then next thing you know, it's just building and building. And then that resentment grows. And the next thing you know, out of the quote unquote blue, you get slapped in the face with divorce papers and you didn't realize that there was a bigger issue going on.
Yeah, yeah. That blind side is crazy. He's got a mean left hook, Tyson sized.
Yeah.
I think
We need to get you. I was going to say, we need to get you a recording studio.
I had a room. My oldest daughter needed a place to go, and we let her come back in. So now I got my grandson living here and her family. So I had to give up my room.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's part of being a man.
Right. What were you saying?
Ah, you did it to me. You got me sidetracked.
Sorry. I have a tendency to do that. We were talking about getting sideswiped with unmet and unspoken expectations. And again, the reason why I keep going back to the intimacy part of it is because that is what makes the covenant of a relationship. That's what makes the marriage special. That's what holds you guys together. Because guess what? That is literally only meant for you two. There's no one else that should be a part of that. So if that's something that only you guys can have with each other, whether that is the woman's form of intimacy or the man's form of intimacy, that is the only one of the very, very, very few freaking things that hold y'all together. And when that goes, because y'all can't communicate worth a jack, what do you expect to come of that relationship? I mean, honestly.
People get so and I said it earlier. I don't want to sound like broken record, but they get so lost in it. They're so attached to the emotional responses that they have that they just forget that we're in this together. Like we need to be combined in our efforts of being one. Like you're supposed to be my other half. When I leave this world, I'm going to have the idea that our souls unite in the cosmic energy, and it's me and you for all eternity.
I think the biggest thing that I think can solve all of these, right? That people, especially nowadays in society, really just forgot about. That is, it's not about you. Everyone comes into these thinking, what can I get out of it? What can I get out of it? You want to know how to solve every problem in your marriage or relationship? Wake up every day thinking, how can I make my partner's life better? That's it.
If both people serve that, you would end up in the kind of relationship that makes other people jealous.
Every day, how can I make my partner's life better? If both of you agree to do that and communicate whenever you feel like the other person might not be doing that or not be doing that as well as they used to, or something came up, right? That right there can solve so many issues. I don't know how to best put that. That is as simple as it gets, and it's so stupid that is that simple. But
I know that when it comes down to me, I will rearrange my life for my wife. I will change absolutely anything she asks because she has provided me with a level of dedication and honor that no other person in this world has. For that, I choose to give everything that I can and in any way she asks.
mhm, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Chaz, I think we hit all the major points here.
Yeah, realistically.
Um, the only other thing that I could think of, and this applies again for both men and women, because I don't think I touched on the women aspect of it. If everything was going good and out of nowhere you are losing interest in your partner, do everyone a favor and just go get your hormone levels checked. Because sometimes it could be something that you didn't even realize and is out of your control. And it may not even be your feelings, it could be your hormones that are changing your feelings. Because that is a really big thing when it comes to both men and keyword and women. Because there is always talk about, testosterone replacement therapy for men, but I don't think women always understand the importance of them taking care of their hormones as well and how that actually affects their libido and everything. They just think it up, it is what it is. Sex drive goes down and I'm getting older. Nope, I've seen some horny year old, horny year old, some horny old people.
Yep, they're
You
years
know what I
old.
mean? So horny years old. How old are you? I am horny years old. Oh, all right, my friend. Thank you as always. This episode might take a little bit of editing. I'll figure it out.
Just gotta throw them both
But
together in the audio.
yep. But thank you as always. Gentlemen, like, share, subscribe to the podcast. Let me know what you guys think. Stay positive, stay motivated, and as always, stay on Crown Kings. Wow, I sound a little special. I don't know where that list came from.